Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're diving into a coin that holds both historical significance and a special place in collectors' hearts. The 1965 USA dime. You might have one of these in your pocket right now, or maybe you found one while sorting through some loose change. But just how much is this dime worth today? And why does it matter in the world of coin collecting? Stick around to find out. First, let's set the stage with some history. The 1965 dime, a 10-cent coin, was struck during a pivotal time in American history. 1965 was a year of major change in the United States, from the Civil Rights Movement to the Vietnam War. The country was in the midst of social and political shifts. But what really made 1965 unique for coin collectors was the decision made by the U.S. Treasury to change the composition of the dime. Before 1965, dimes were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But due to the rising cost of silver and the need to cut costs during the 1960s, the U.S. Mint decided to strike dimes from a new, more affordable material, a clad composition of copper and nickel. Now, the 1965 dime no longer contained silver, which made it the first dime in U.S. history to be made with a copper-nickel clad composition. This change was part of a larger move to reduce silver content in all circulating U.S. coins. Let's take a look at the design of the 1965 dime. The obverse features the iconic portrait of the United States. Since then, the obverse processing technology has been increased billions of times, and the composition in the first dime has been reduced from middle-aged days to middle-aged men. This design was first introduced in 1946, just after Roosevelt's passing, and it's still used today on dimes. The reverse side of the coin features a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbolizing freedom, peace, and strength. What makes the 1965 version stand out is the absence of any mint mark. Unlike many other years, which may include a mint mark indicating where the coin was produced, such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco, the 1965 dime has no mint mark. This was part of a cost-saving measure during the year, as the U.S. Mint wanted to produce as many coins as quickly and efficiently as possible. So now, let's get into the real question. How much is the 1965 dime worth today? For a typical 1965 dime in circulated condition, you can expect it to be worth, well, a dime 10 cents. Since it was made with a copper-nickel clad composition and contains no silver, its value is primarily based on face value and not its metal content. But don't be fooled. While it's worth just 10 cents if you find it in your pocket change, some 1965 dimes might be worth a little more to collectors. The value really depends on the condition of the coin. A 1965 dime in circulated condition, meaning it's seen some wear from being in circulation, might only fetch a small premium, typically around 10 to 25 cents, depending on the overall wear and tear. But if you happen to find one in mint condition without any wear, scratches, or discoloration, you could see it go for a bit more, maybe a couple of dollars. Now, while the standard 1965 dime is not highly valuable, there are a few rare exceptions. For example, some collectors have reported finding 1965 dimes with certain unique features, like die errors or unusual markings, which could increase their value significantly. For instance, if you happen to come across a 1965 dime with a die crack or a double strike error, it could be worth more than just the 10 cents. These types of errors are rare, and error coins are often highly sought after. By 1969 USA, one dime, one of the more commonly circulated coins from the late 1960s. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, we've got everything you need to know about its value, history, and why it's still making waves in the coin world. Let's get started. First, Let's set the stage by taking a look at the history of the 1969 dime. This coin is part of the Roosevelt dime series, which began in 1946, just after the passing of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The design, created by artist John R. Sinek, has remained remarkably consistent since its introduction, with Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch by Gabriel and Sinek on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. By 1969, the coin had already become a staple in daily American transactions. It was minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, but for collectors, the mint mark is key to determining the origin of the coin, which we'll talk more about in a minute. In terms of raw purchasing power, the 1969 dime is worth, well, 10 cents. But when it comes to collectors, things are a bit more interesting. A dime from 1969 in circulated condition typically has a value of around 10 to 20 cents. That's because of the large number of these were produced and circulated during the year, with over 1.5 billion dimes minted across both Philadelphia and Denver mints. They were readily available for everyday use and haven't really seen much of a premium, at least not in average circulated condition. But don't be discouraged just yet. While the circulated value might not be huge, there are certain factors that can increase the value of a 1969 dime, and we'll discuss those in just a moment. So, what about the condition of your 1969 dime? That's where the magic happens. As with all coins, the better the condition, the more it can be worth. Coins are typically graded on a scale from the coin is worn but maintains some fine details, especially in the areas around Roosevelt's hair, and the torch. The coin has little wear and the features are still sharp. An uncirculated 1969 dime is rare, and if you have one, you're looking at a much higher premium, potentially anywhere from $2 to $5 or more, depending on the quality of the strike. As a rule of thumb, the better the coin's condition, the higher the value, but remember that a dime in great condition is still going to be more affordable than some rarer, higher value coins. Now, let's talk about mint marks. While most 1969 dimes of the most valuable coins in circulation today, it's still a key part of American coinage history. Not ticeable. Forgive them the wrong number. References that should not be deceiving. Not only are these coins based on condition, rarity, how the 1969 USA dime may not be one, why? Whether you're collecting them for their history as a beginner's piece, or you just happen to have one lying around, it's always fun to see what you can find. Remember, the value of a coin can fluctuate based on condition, rarity, and even market demand. If you have any 1969 dimes in your collection, be sure to check their condition and look for any mint errors or special characteristics that could increase their value. The Roosevelt dime replaced the previous design featuring a seated Liberty, which had been in use for many decades. The 1992 dime carries the same design as the original Roosevelt dime introduced in 1946. The obverse features a portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. Roosevelt's image is meant to honor his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. It is an enduring symbol of resilience, stability, and service. The reverse side of the coin features a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, which represent liberty, peace, and strength, respectively. The design reflects the ideals of the United States, and this reverse has been used on the Roosevelt dime since its founding in the USA Mint, because it marked the beginning of a new era in coin production. In 1992, the Mint began using modern techniques and materials for producing coins, such as using copper nickel for the dime's composition instead of silver. which was phased out for all circulating U.S. coins starting in 1965. While there were no drastic changes to the dime's design in 1992, this year is notable for several reasons. In 1992, the U.S. was recovering from the 1991 recession, and coins like the dime played an essential role in everyday transactions. The value of the dime, 10 cents, remained stable, representing a small yet important part of the U.S. currency system. While the 1992 dimes in regular circulation were standard Roosevelt dimes, the U.S. Mint was also releasing commemorative coins around this time. For example, in 1992, the Mint began releasing 1992199 199 state quarters, which would become a hugely popular series for collectors. The 1992 dime was minted in large quantities, so it is considered a common coin among collectors. In terms of circulation value, the dime has remained steady at 10 cents, C1CG dollars, with minimal variation over the years. However, as with many coins, the 1992 dime's value as a collectible piece may increase, depending on its condition, rarity, such as proof versions, and any unique characteristics that might make it desirable to numismatists. The circulated value of the 1992 dime typically remains close to face value, just 10 cents, because it was produced in large numbers and is still in circulation. However, if you have an uncirculated or proof version, it could be worth significantly more. These coins can be sold for $1 or more, depending on their condition and demand from collectors. The 1992 dime holds a significant place in the history of U.S. coinage, particularly as a part of the Roosevelt dime series. Although it does not have the same historical significance as some other U.S. coins, it's still an important piece of American numismatic history. Whether you're collecting for its design, its connection to Franklin D. Roosevelt, or just because you have one sitting in your pocket, the 1992 dime is a reminder of the rich heritage of U.S. coinage. 1997 U.S. dime. Whether you've got one sitting in your pocket chain or you're a seasoned numismatist, this little silver gem has an interesting history. So let's take a closer look at its value, history, and why it might be worth more than you think. Before we jump into the details, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on any of our future coin content. Let's get started. The U.S. dime has been in circulation since 1797, but today we're focusing on the 1997 version. In 1997, the dime remained part of the same design established by President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1946 following his death. As you can see, the 1997 dime features President Franklin D. Roosevelt's portrait on the obverse. It's a simple design, but it holds a lot of significance. The reverse side shows a torch, olive branch and oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Well, you might be wondering, what's the value of the 1997 dime today? Well, let's break it down. The 1997 dime is composed of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. This gives it a metallic value that's close to 2-3 cents based on current copper and nickel prices. But that's not where the real value lies. Let's talk about copper band, just 10 cents. However, depending on the coin's condition and whether it has any special markings, its value can change significantly. Coins in good condition, or what we call circulated condition, are typically worth around 10 cents, just like any other dime. But if you have one that's in near perfect or uncirculated condition, its value might be a bit higher. Let's talk about that. An uncirculated 1997 dime can fetch anywhere from 15 to 25 cents at most. It's not a huge increase over the face value, but for collectors, that extra value comes from the coin's condition. Mint state coins are clean, sharp, and free from any wear or damage. Additionally, if the coin shows minimal signs of wear and tear, but isn't necessarily in mint condition, it may still hold some added value in the market. These can be priced a little higher, especially if sold to the right buyer. Let's talk a bit about what might make the 1997 dime special. It's important to remember that not every coin in circulation is a rare find, but some key factors can influence a coin's value, such as errors or rare minting mistakes. Common minting errors on dimes include off-center strikes, double die errors, or even unique markings that occurred during the minting. 1946, following the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who is depicted on the obverse front of the coin. Roosevelt was a key figure in American history, serving as the 32nd president from 1933 to 1945, and guiding the country through the Great Depression and much of World War II. The design was chosen shortly after Roosevelt's death in 1945 to honor his contributions, especially his leadership in the establishment of Social Security. The dime's reverse features a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. In 1997, the dime continued to follow the standard design established in 1946, with no major design changes. The coin is made of a copper-nickel composition, 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, which gives it a silver-like appearance, but at a much lower cost of production. Over the years, there have been minor changes in the minting process and production methods, but the overall design of the Roosevelt dime has remained unchanged for decades. This stability has made the coin easily recognizable and a staple of U.S. currency. The 1997 dime was part of the regular coinage issues produced by the U.S. Mint. The 1990s were a period of economic growth in the United States, with the country specific years or minting locations. Coins from the 1990s are still relatively common in circulation, though they may have become a bit harder to find in mint condition due to wear and tear. Over time, the 1997 dime, like most U.S. coins, has become a part of the collective memory of the late 20th century. While it is not a rare coin or one with particularly significant historical value, it is still a representation of the era in which it was produced. It also stands as part of the broader tradition of American coinage that honors notable figures, with Roosevelt being one of the most widely recognized figures on U.S. coins. While the 1997 dime may not have the same historical weight or rarity as some other coins, it is a piece of the ongoing history of U.S. currency. Its design has remained constant for decades, and it continues to be a familiar part of everyday transactions. The USA 1 dime from 2016. We're going to look at its circulated value, some history behind it, and why it might be more interesting than you think. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's get started. The United States 1 dime or 10-cent coin has been a staple in American currency for centuries. The 2016 dime is no different, continuing the tradition of featuring Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and the familiar torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. But even though it's a common coin, there's always more than meets the eye, especially when it comes to value. And let's talk about the basics first. The 2016 dime was produced by the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, just like most other modern dimes. If you have one in your pocket or coin jar, it's very likely a standard circulating dime. But the real question is, how much is it worth in today's market? First of all, if you're trying to sell your 2016 dime you're generally looking at face value. These coins are minted in large quantities and don't have any major distinguishing features that make them rare in terms of circulation. But let's dig a little deeper. Even though the 2016 dime doesn't have an automatic premium, there are a few. Coin's condition matters. A circulated 2016 dime, especially one that has seen a lot of wear, will likely be worth only its face value. But if you have one that's in pristine, uncirculated condition, it could be worth a little more. Uncirculated dimes, or those that have been well preserved and show no signs of handling, can sell for a small premium, usually between 25 cents to $1, depending on the coin's grade. Coins that are graded as Miss 65 or higher, meaning they have a near-perfect appearance, could fetch slightly higher prices from collectors, and could also be worth a good deal more. The presence of a mint mark could play a role in value. Dimes minted in Philadelphia usually don't have a mint mark, while those from Denver carry a D, and those from San Francisco have an S. Generally speaking, the mint marks don't add much extra value to the 2016 dime, unless you're dealing with rare varieties or errors. Speaking of error coins, it's important to keep in mind that if you find a 2016 dime with a minting mistake, it could significantly increase its value. Error coins can range from things like double strikes, misaligned dies, or even coins with unusual features. These mistakes are very rare, but if you happen to come across one, make sure you, and while some coins can skyrocket in value due to rarity or demand, the 2016 dime doesn't fit that category. Most collectors and investors are more focused on older or rarer dimes, such as those from the early 20th century or the ones with major errors. But that doesn't mean you should overlook it. Dimes from specific years, mint marks, and conditions all play a role in coin collecting, and the 2016 dime is no exception. So, to summarize, the 2016 dime in its circulated state is worth exactly 10 cents. If you have one in great condition or come across a rare era coin, you might be able to get a little more than face value. But for most of us, it's just a regular dime that can add to your change jar or help you make exact change at the store. That's all for today. I hope this gives you a better understanding of the 2016 dime and its value in the world of coin collecting. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe for more coin insights and collection tips. And, as always, leave a comment below if you found any interesting coins recently, or if you have questions about other coins you'd like to learn about. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy collecting!